And I ain't into like two rappers beefing. Like, don't mix me with it.
Why?
If somebody died, I'm gonna pick a side. For real. If somebody died, I'm gonna pick a side. Other than that, I don't mix me with that. I seen the outcomes of that. Like, I ain't with that. Hell no.
Lil Baby's goofy ass is getting exposed right now for leaving Lil Durk's side and meat riding Youngboy. I'm break down how Lil Baby is now begging to be cool with NBA Youngboy after it's looking like his boy Lil Durk ain't coming home anytime soon. This ain't just some regular industry politics. This is about fake loyalty, switching sides when it's beneficial, and how these rappers will abandon their so-called friends the moment things get too hot. No cap, by the time I'm done telling you this story, you're gonna understand why the streets are calling out all these fake industry relationships. When Baby and Youngboy were cool. First, let me paint the picture for you, gang. There was a time when Lil Baby and NBA Youngboy were actually cool with each other, making hits together and showing mutual respect. This wasn't no fake industry friendship. These two were genuinely rocking with each other's music and energy. Back in 2018 and 2020, Baby and Youngboy linked up for some tracks that went crazy. We talking about songs like One Shot and Cross Me, tracks that showed these two had real chemistry in the studio. When they got together, it was magic, and the streets could feel that both artists respected each other's grind and authenticity. The psychology behind their early friendship made sense. Both of them came from the bottom. Both had that raw street energy. Both were young dudes trying to make it out the hood through rap. They understood each other's struggle, and that mutual respect translated into good music and a solid relationship. But here's where it gets crazy. All that friendship and mutual respect went out the window the moment industry politics got involved. When the beef between Youngboy's camp and OTF started heating up, Baby had to choose a side. And instead of staying neutral or supporting his friend Youngboy, he chose to ride with Lil Durk. The deeper psychology, industry friendships versus real loyalty. Let me break down what's really happening with these industry relationships, because this type of fake loyalty is everywhere in hip-hop. When rappers are coming up, they form bonds based on mutual struggle and respect. But once they get successful, those relationships become about business, politics, and what's most beneficial for their careers. Baby and Youngboy's early friendship was probably genuine. They were both hungry artists trying to make it, both dealing with similar struggles, both grinding to get to the next level. In that environment, loyalty feels real because everyone's in the same boat. But once they both made it big, the dynamics changed. Now it's not about mutual struggle, it's about protecting your position, maintaining your relationships with the right people, and making sure you're on the winning side of any conflict.
See right there, man, that just proved that the bigger you get, the more enemies you get. The bigger you get, the more problems you face. So they was cool at one point in time until they both started getting big. NBA Youngboy, he got 4K trade. Lil Baby got 4P. I think 4P, something like that. Yeah, so the bigger they get, man, it just seemed like they separated. You know, more problems, more money, more problems. Y'all know the saying, more money, more problems.
That's when fake loyalty starts to show itself. The crazy part is, Baby probably convinced himself that choosing Durk's side was the right move. Maybe he thought OTF was more powerful. Maybe he thought Youngboy was gonna lose the beef. Maybe he just felt closer to Durk personally. But whatever his reasoning, he abandoned a friend when that friend needed support the most. The King Von incident, when everything changed. Now let me break down the incident that changed everything and forced everyone to pick sides. On November 6th, 2020, King Von was shot and killed outside a hookah lounge in Atlanta after getting into a fight with Quando Rondo. Lil Tim, Quando's homie, shot Von during the altercation, and Von died from his injuries. This wasn't just any regular street incident. This was the death of one of the most promising young rappers in the game, someone who was close with Lil Durk and represented the future of OTF. Von's death sent shockwaves through the entire hip-hop community and created a situation where neutrality became impossible. The psychology behind what happened next is deep. When someone dies in a situation like this, it forces everyone connected to pick a side. You can't stay neutral when blood has been shed. You can't claim to be friends with both camps when one camp just lost their brother. The streets demand loyalty, and that loyalty gets tested in moments like this. Youngboy and his camp, including Quando Rondo, were now in a life or death beef with OTF. This wasn't about rap anymore. This was about real street politics, real violence, real consequences. And in that environment, everyone had to decide where their loyalty really lay. Lil Baby's choice, picking Durk over Youngboy. Here's where Lil Baby showed his true colors, and it wasn't pretty. Instead of staying neutral or supporting his friend Youngboy during one of the most difficult periods of his life, Baby chose to side with Lil Durk and OTF. This wasn't just a business decision, this was a betrayal of their friendship. In that interview, Baby made his position clear when he said, "I don't care about rapper beef, but if somebody died, I'm gonna pick a side."
You can get like, and I ain't into like two rappers beefing. Like, I ain't into that. Like, I ain't like, don't mix me with it.
Like, why?
If somebody died, I'm gonna pick a side. For real. If somebody died, I'm gonna pick a side. Other than that, don't mix me with that shit.
That makes sense.
For real.
I get it.
And somebody...
So at the end of the day, when King Von, you know what I'm saying, died, all due to the fact that Quando Rondo and, you know, King Von had beef, it was up. So Lil Baby end up, you know, picking King Von and them side OTF. And I guess that's what led to this right here, you know, where it's beef in between OTF and Quando Rondo, and then you got Lil Baby, which is 4PF. You know, y'all excuse me me mixing up my words and things like that, but y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all get what I'm saying.
He did die, King Von, which is exactly what he was referring to. Baby was basically saying that Von's death forced him to choose Durk's side over Youngboy's side. But here's what's crazy about that statement. Baby was essentially admitting that he was willing to abandon his friendship with Youngboy because of something Youngboy didn't even do. Youngboy wasn't there when Von got killed. He didn't pull the trigger. He wasn't even involved in the situation directly. But Baby still chose to turn his back on him. The psychology behind Baby's decision reveals a lot about his character. Instead of being loyal to his friend, he chose to be loyal to whoever he thought was more powerful or more connected in the industry. That's not real loyalty. That's opportunism, disguised as loyalty. Youngboy's realization, the industry turned against him. After King Von's death, Youngboy started realizing that the entire industry was turning against him. Artists who used to show him love were now distancing themselves. People who used to collaborate with him were now avoiding him. And former friends like Lil Baby were openly choosing sides against him. This realization hit Youngboy hard, and you could hear it in his music. He started talking about feeling isolated, feeling like the whole industry was against him, feeling like he was fighting the world by himself. That type of isolation can mess with your head, especially when you're already dealing with legal troubles and street beef. The psychological impact of this industry blackballing was probably devastating for Youngboy. Imagine being one of the biggest artists in the game, but feeling like everyone in your own industry wants to see you fail. That's the type of situation that can drive someone to paranoia, depression, and extreme defensive behavior. But instead of letting it break him, Youngboy channeled that energy into his music. He started making songs about the fake loyalty, the industry.
Man, I mean, when we talking about NBA YoungBoy, I wouldn't even care, bro. I wouldn't care who on my team, because at the end of the day, NBA YoungBoy got so many fans that he don't even need the music industry, you know, to keep him going. I feel like he done built his empire so tough and so strong, and his fan base is so strong that nobody can break it down. You know, nobody can knock it down. It don't matter if he beef with Lil Baby, OTF, Drake, Kendrick. I don't know. He might gotta, you know, tighten up what he gonna put him. But you know, at the end of the day, man, I feel like NBA YoungBoy, man, his empire is just too strong for anybody to knock down. I can't lie. Y'all get in the comments. Let me know what y'all think, man. His fan base is what I see on the internet. I mean, I done seen people getting whooped on, beat up on, things like that, like just for even, you know, saying the wrong thing when it comes to NBA YoungBoy.
Politics, the way people switched up on him when things got difficult. And that authenticity is part of what kept his fans loyal even when the industry turned its back on him. The "I hate YoungBoy" diss, calling out the whole industry. When YoungBoy realized how deep the industry blackballing went, he decided to address it head-on with one of the most brutal diss tracks in recent memory. I Hate Youngboy wasn't just aimed at Lil Durk, it was aimed at everyone who had turned their back on him, including former friends like Lil Baby. In that track, Youngboy went at the entire industry for trying to blackball him. He called out the fake loyalty, the way people switched up when it became convenient, the way former friends abandoned him when he needed support the most. It was raw, it was honest, and it was a direct response to feeling isolated and betrayed. The psychology behind that song is fascinating. Youngboy was essentially saying, if y'all gonna turn against me, I'm gonna call all y'all out. Instead of trying to make peace or play politics, he chose to go to war with everyone who had betrayed him. That takes a certain type of courage and authenticity that most artists don't have. But the song also revealed how hurt Youngboy was by the industry's treatment of him. You could hear the pain in his voice, the frustration of being abandoned by people he thought were friends, the anger of being blackballed for something he didn't even do directly. The alleged revenge. Durk's downfall begins. Fast forward to August 2022, and the streets started talking about some serious retaliation. Quando Rondo's cousin Lil Pab was shot and killed in Los Angeles, and immediately people started pointing fingers at Lil Durk and OTF as being behind the hit. According to the feds and the evidence that's now coming out, Durk allegedly orchestrated a murder-for-hire plot to get revenge for King Von's death. The plan was supposedly to kill Quando Rondo, but they ended up killing his cousin instead. This wasn't just street justice. This was allegedly a calculated, organized hit that crossed state lines. The psychology behind this alleged revenge plot shows how deep the pain and anger went in OTF. Losing King Von wasn't just losing an artist, it was losing family. And when you lose family in the streets, the code demands retaliation. But taking that retaliation to this level, allegedly using resources and planning to carry out hits across the country, that's what got the feds involved. What's crazy is that Durk's alleged need for revenge might have been exactly what destroyed his freedom. If he had just let the streets handle it naturally, if he had just focused on his music and his success, he might still be free today. But the alleged obsession with getting back for Von is what allegedly led to the murder-for-hire charges that could put him away for.
So right now, y'all, we still stuck on whether or not Durk is gonna get out of this jam when it comes to these, murder for hires. I really want to know what y'all think. I really want to know if he got some diehard fans that no matter what, even though it's looking serious, man, it's looking real serious for Durk and these charges in this case that's coming up. But y'all make sure y'all get in that comment, man, and put some free Durks, man. We need one of the, we still need our storytellers out here. We lost King Von. He was a great storyteller. And I know can't nobody go against that. So y'all get up in the comments, man. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all think Durk coming home, or y'all think that he cooked? It's over with. Let me know.
Life. The federal case. Why Durk looks cooked. Now let me break down why Lil Durk's situation looks so bad. Because the evidence the feds are presenting is damning. We talking about wiretaps, financial records, travel documents, and testimony from co-conspirators. This ain't no regular street case. This is a federal conspiracy case with multiple defendants and serious evidence. The feds are alleging that Durk used his OTF label as a criminal organization, that he paid for hits, that he coordinated travel and logistics for murders. They got him on tape. They got his financial records. They got people who are willing to testify against him. That's the type of evidence that usually leads to life sentences. What makes it even worse for Durk is that this is federal court, not state court. Federal prosecutors have a conviction rate of over 90%, and they don't bring cases unless they're confident they can win. The fact that they arrested Durk and charged him with these serious crimes means they believe they have enough evidence to put him away forever. The psychology of facing this type of case is devastating. Durk went from being on top of the world, winning Grammys and making millions, to potentially spending the rest of his life in prison. That type of fall from grace can break someone mentally, especially when you realize that your own actions led to your downfall. The switch up, rappers abandoning Durk. Here's where it gets really crazy. And this is where you see the fake loyalty in the industry for what it really is. Now that Durk's case is looking bad, now that it seems like he might not be coming home, all these rappers who were riding with him are starting to distance themselves. The same artists who were dissing Youngboy and supporting Durk when he was free are now liking Youngboy's posts on Instagram. The same people who chose sides against Youngboy when Von died are now trying to make peace with him now that Durk is locked up. That's not loyalty, that's opportunism. Lil Baby is the perfect example of this fake loyalty. When Durk was free and powerful, Baby was riding with him, choosing his side over Youngboy, making it clear where his allegiance was. But now that Durk is facing life in prison, Baby is liking Youngboy's Instagram posts and trying to get back cool with him. The psychology behind this switch up is simple. These rappers are more loyal to their careers than they are to their friends. When Durk was winning, it was beneficial to be associated with him. Now that he's facing serious time, it's beneficial to distance themselves and try to make peace with his enemies. Lil Baby's Instagram activity.
So at the end of the day, man, this video is definitely crazy. If this is the reason why Lil Baby and NBA Youngboy is beefing out all because of Lil Durk and Pab and Tim, Quando, all them, if this is the reason why we can't get no good music because NBA Youngboy and Lil Baby want to beef over some things like this, then it's crazy. Y'all, them boys need to kill it, man. Go on and kill it, man. We need our music out here. We ain't trying to hear this. We want the music. That's what we want.
Desperate attempt at reconciliation. The most obvious sign of Baby's switch up is his recent Instagram activity. This dude who chose Durk's side over Youngboy, who publicly stated he was picking sides because someone died, is now liking Youngboy's posts like nothing ever happened. That Instagram like isn't just social media activity, it's a message. Baby is trying to signal to Youngboy and the industry that he's ready to make peace, that he's not loyal to Durk anymore, that he's willing to switch sides now that the power dynamics have changed. But here's what's crazy about this move. It exposes Baby's character completely. If he was really loyal to Durk, he would stick by him even when things got difficult. If he was really principled about his decision to choose sides, he wouldn't be trying to switch back now. The fact that he's doing both shows that his loyalty was never real to begin with. The psychology behind this type of behavior is pure self-preservation. Baby sees which way the wind is blowing, realizes that Durk might not be coming home, and decides to protect his own interest by trying to make peace with Youngboy. But that type of calculated loyalty switching is exactly what's wrong with the industry. The pattern. Other rappers doing the same thing. Baby isn't the only one switching up now that Durk's situation looks bad. Multiple artists who were previously supporting OTF and distancing themselves from Youngboy are now trying to make peace. The same people who were part of the industry blackballing are now liking posts and sending subtle messages of reconciliation. This pattern reveals something ugly about the hip-hop industry. Loyalty is conditional, friendships are business relationships, and principles get abandoned the moment they become inconvenient. These artists don't have real loyalty to anyone except themselves and their careers. The crazy part is, they probably think they're being smart by switching sides early. They probably think they're protecting their careers by distancing themselves from Durk before his case gets worse. But what they're really doing is showing everyone that their word means nothing and their loyalty can't be trusted. Youngboy is probably watching all this switch-up behavior and taking notes. He's seeing who was really with him and who was just following the crowd. He's seeing who has real loyalty and who just goes with whoever seems to be winning at the moment. The psychology of fake loyalty in hip-hop. Let me break down why this type of fake loyalty is so common in the hip-hop industry, because it's deeper than just individual character flaws. The music industry is built on relationships, connections, and being associated with the right people at the right time. That creates an environment where loyalty becomes transactional rather than genuine. When artists are coming up, they form relationships based on mutual benefit. You help me, I help you. We both get to the next level. But once they reach a certain level of success, those relationships become about maintaining position and protecting interests rather than genuine friendship and loyalty. The pressure to stay relevant, to stay connected, to stay on the winning side creates this environment where people will abandon friends and switch allegiances based on what's most beneficial for their careers. It's not personal, it's business. But that mentality destroys any possibility of real loyalty or genuine relationships. What makes it even worse is that hip-hop culture is supposed to be built on loyalty, realness, and keeping it 100. But the industry side of hip-hop operates on completely different principles. opportunism, self-preservation, and calculated relationship management. That contradiction creates the type of fake loyalty we're seeing with Baby and others. Youngboy's position, the vindicated outsider. From Youngboy's perspective, everything that's happening now probably feels like vindication. He was telling people about the fake loyalty, the industry politics, the way people would switch up when it became convenient. And now everyone can see that he was right. Youngboy maintained his position throughout this whole situation. He didn't try to make peace when it would have been easier. He didn't compromise his principles to get back in the industry's good graces. He didn't abandon his people when things got difficult. That type of consistency is rare in the industry. Now that Durk's situation is looking bad, now that the people who turned against Youngboy are trying to come back, Youngboy is in a position of power. He can choose who gets forgiveness and who doesn't. He can decide which relationships are worth rebuilding and which bridges should stay burned. The psychology of being vindicated after being wronged is complex. On one hand, it probably feels good to be proven right about people's fake loyalty. On the other hand, it's probably disappointing to see how shallow these industry relationships really are. Youngboy probably wishes he had been wrong about people like Baby. The street code versus industry politics.
I mean, somebody that comes from the streets, you should already kind of be hip and kind of knowing what's going on, man. Everybody knows that it comes apart in your career, or if you're a rapper, it's gonna come apart, man, when people switch up on you. I mean, the streets is never been and never will be, what people think in their own mind. In the streets, we got this thing where we like to think most people loyal, most people, gonna stand behind you, most people is gonna ride with you. People ain't gonna snitch on you, ain't gonna tell on you, people know how to keep secrets. All that stuff is dead now. It's dead now. It's to the point where, loyalty is really just waved around like anything else. It's just a word to throw out there. But ain't nobody living by that no more. Not in the streets. Not in the streets. Ain't nobody living like that no more. That's how I feel. Y'all let me know if y'all feel different, man. You're free to do that. Jump in the comments.
What this whole situation reveals is the conflict between street code and industry politics. In the streets, loyalty is everything. You ride with your people through good times and bad times. You don't abandon someone just because they're going through difficulties. You definitely don't switch sides based on who's winning at the moment. But in the industry, loyalty is conditional. People support whoever is most beneficial to their careers. They distance themselves from anyone who might hurt their image or their business relationships. They make calculated decisions about friendships based on what's most advantageous. Baby's behavior is a perfect example of industry politics overriding street loyalty. When it was beneficial to support Durk, he supported Durk. Now that it's potentially beneficial to make peace with Youngboy, he's trying to make peace with Youngboy. That's not street loyalty, that's business calculation. The tragedy is that hip-hop was built on street principles, but the industry has corrupted those principles into something unrecognizable. The realness, the loyalty, the authenticity that made hip-hop powerful has been replaced by fake relationships and opportunistic behavior. The long-term consequences. Trust destroyed. The long-term consequences of this type of fake loyalty are devastating for the culture. When artists can't trust each other, when friendships are just business relationships, when loyalty is conditional, it destroys the foundation that hip-hop was built on. Youngboy is probably never gonna trust Baby the same way again, even if they make peace publicly. Once someone shows you that their loyalty is conditional, that they'll abandon you when it's convenient, you can never fully trust them again. That knowledge changes the relationship forever. The same thing is probably happening with other artists who are switching up now. Even if they successfully distance themselves from Durk and make peace with Youngboy, everyone knows that their loyalty is for sale. Everyone knows that they'll switch sides again if the circumstances change. This creates an environment where genuine relationships become almost impossible. Everyone is calculating. Everyone is protecting their own interests. Everyone is ready to switch sides when it becomes beneficial. That's not a healthy environment for creativity or authentic expression. The business implications, career calculations. From a pure business perspective, Baby's switch up might make sense. If Durk is going to be locked up for decades, maintaining loyalty to him doesn't benefit Baby's career. If Youngboy is going to continue being successful and influential, making peace with him could be beneficial. But this type of calculated relationship management comes at a cost. When people see that your loyalty is based on business calculations rather than genuine friendship, it affects how they view your character. It makes you look opportunistic and untrustworthy. The crazy part is, Baby probably thinks he's being smart by switching sides early. He probably thinks he's protecting his career and positioning himself for future success. But what he's really doing is showing everyone that his word means nothing and his loyalty can't be trusted. In the long run, this type of behavior might actually hurt Baby's career more than help it. Artists want to work with people they can trust. Fans respect authenticity and loyalty, and the streets remember when you violate the code. Baby might gain some short-term benefits, but he's damaging his long-term reputation. The cultural impact, what this means for hip-hop. This whole situation is a perfect example of what's wrong with modern hip-hop culture. The fake loyalty, the opportunistic behavior, the way people abandon principles when it becomes convenient. All of this is destroying the authenticity that made hip-hop powerful. Hip-hop was built on realness, on keeping it 100, on loyalty to your people and your principles. But the industry has turned it into something fake, where relationships are transactional and loyalty is conditional. That transformation is killing the soul of the culture. Young artists coming up are watching this situation and learning the wrong lessons. They're seeing that loyalty doesn't matter, that principles are optional, that switching sides is acceptable if it benefits your career. That's not the message hip-hop should be sending. The tragedy is that artists like Youngboy, who maintain their principles and stay loyal to their people, are treated like outsiders. Meanwhile, artists like Baby, who switch up when it's convenient, are rewarded with industry support and mainstream success. That backwards incentive structure is destroying the culture from within. The final breakdown: the cost of fake loyalty. At the end of the day, this story is about more than just Lil Baby and NBA Youngboy. It's about the death of loyalty in hip-hop culture. It's about how success and industry politics can corrupt people's principles and turn genuine relationships into calculated business arrangements. Baby had a real friendship with Youngboy, built on mutual respect and shared experiences. But when it became politically convenient to abandon that friendship, he chose industry politics over loyalty. Now that the politics have changed again, he's trying to switch back like nothing happened. But that's not how loyalty works. You can't turn it on and off based on what's convenient. You can't abandon someone when they need support and then come back when it benefits you. Real loyalty is unconditional, and once you violate it, you can't just get it back. Youngboy is probably watching all these switch-ups and taking notes. He's seeing who was really with him and who was just following the crowd. He's learning who he can trust and who he needs to keep at a distance. And that knowledge is gonna affect his relationships for years to come. The saddest part is that this whole situation could have been avoided if people had just maintained their principles and stayed loyal to their friends. If Baby had stayed neutral or supported Youngboy, if other artists had refused to participate in the industry blackballing, if people had chosen loyalty over politics, none of this fake switching would be necessary. But instead, we got a perfect example of everything that's wrong with modern hip-hop. Fake loyalty, opportunistic behavior, and the abandonment of principles when it becomes convenient. And now everyone can see the consequences of that type of behavior. That's the real story behind why Lil Baby is begging to be cool with NBA Youngboy fam. It's not about friendship, it's not about respect, it's about career calculations and protecting his own interests. And that type of fake loyalty is exactly what's killing the authenticity that made hip-hop great in the first place. Real recognize real, but fake gets exposed eventually. And right now, Baby's switch-up is exposing everything we need to know about his character and his loyalty. The streets are watching, Youngboy is taking notes, and the culture is learning what happens when you choose politics over principles, no cap.